Hello my lovelies and welcome back to Crazy But Not Dangerous. It is 1:29 a.m. and I am up. Couldn't sleep, had a hot flash, and because I'm nuts I decided now's the perfect time to make strawberry freezer jam. Yay, hooray! So let's get down to it. We could have it for breakfast. Okay, so first let's go ahead. And I have washed and rinsed and sanitized this countertop. All of my tools and utensils. Over here on the stove, I have a hot pot of water. I am sterilizing jars, my microplane, the spoon I'm going to use, my little ice cream scoop that I'm going to fill the jars with, my potato masher. Everything is going to come to a boil and be sterilized. We are not canning today. We're making freezer jam. Even though we are not canning, I am still going to use all of the basic principles as if we were canning, because I will give this as gifts to people that I like. And because I like them, I don't want to kill them. Just this funny thing I got. And so, yep, there we go. We've got all of our stuff. My strawberries are in the refrigerator. We're going to get those all washed up. I've cut this little bit of lemon because I'm going to use this to wash my strawberries. I'm going to give it a little squeeze, make sure they get all clean in there. Again, because I don't want to kill people. And if my strawberries came from Yuma, I'm definitely going to wash them, because that's where all the recalls always happen from. So wash your strawberries well, clean your work surfaces. Everybody eats, nobody dies. That's a good philosophy. Okay, so here we are at my sink. I'm going to open up my package of strawberries here. And I'm just going to give them a quick inspection. Make sure that they're good. That they're not moldy like that one. Or bruised like that one. Okay, well here's hoping the rest of the pack is better. That's why I got 4. Because I want to make sure that I have the most delicious product to give to my loved ones and to eat my own self. I love strawberry freezer jam. My family prefers strawberry freezer jam to canned jam. This will not be shelf stable. You will have to keep this in your refrigerator or your freezer for long-term storage. Once you open a jar, it is good in your refrigerator for 3 to 6 weeks, depending on how you keep your refrigerator, depending on how clean we are when we're doing this stuff. So, yeah, 4 to 6 or 3 to 6 weeks once you open one. You can store it in your freezer up to a year, but it won't last that long. You don't have to worry about it. And I'm also not worried if I get any lemon seeds in here, because we're going to chop these all up. And then we're going to do a maceration process where we're going to break down the strawberries and sugar. So that's just about filled. I'm going to give that a good spinny. I'm going to let that soak for about, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes. I'm only going to give them a clean up. No worries. But don't they look pretty? And it's kind of fun just to spin it. I don't know why. I'm easily amused. I'm especially easily amused at 1:30 in the morning. Anyhow. And if you were hearing Pig having a little drink, he was having a little asthma thing going on, and bless his little heart. Okay. So there we go. We're going to let these sit for about 15 minutes. Then we're going to chop them all up. This is super simple. This is super simple. And if you've never had homemade jam, it is really going to be hard for you to go back to Smuckers. It really is. When we run out of freezer jam and strawberries are not on sale, is it the Smuckers? Yeah, honey, it's the Smuckers. We're just grateful that we can, get it. And we have it for your peanut butter and jelly roll-ups. You'll be okay. But here we go. We're going to let these soak. I don't know. I'm going to go drink some coffee and some Mountain Dew. This is the recipe from the Sure-Jell for making strawberry jam. Quick and easy freezer jam recipes. And they give the recipe down here, and then up here they give the directions. And it can be hard to decipher exactly what's going on based on this recipe. This is the recipe we're going to use. We're going to follow the directions very carefully so that our freezer jam sets nicely. We are going to make one modification in the directions. In the directions it says that you should macerate your strawberries for 10 minutes. That's not long enough. If you're only macerating your strawberries for 10 minutes, I think that it gives your jam, a grainy texture. So we are going to go for 1 full hour. But this isn't an hour like we're even going to babysit it like a 12-year-old. This is like, you know, a 16-year-old babysit. We're gonna put the strawberries into our mixing bowl here, and we're gonna put the sugar on it, and we're gonna mix it up, and then, you know, we're gonna go drink coffee and watch some nighttime YouTube or news or something like that. Have a little dance party with the pig dog. I don't know, something. Anyhow, so we're gonna make that correction. Don't be intimidated by this nonsense, because it's really a very simple process. They have just really overcomplicated it, you know, to cover their own selves. But we're using all clean techniques. We're going to measure very carefully, and we're going to have a great product. So like I said, we're going to put 4 cups of hulled strawberries into this, and we're going to crush them. Once they're crushed, we're going to be adding 4 cups of sugar. Now I have the sugar in this liquid measuring cup, but you cannot use a liquid measuring cup for measuring your sugar. This is what I have to hold it in, but I did measure it with a dry measuring cup. You know, the little metal ones or the plastic one that you may have that's small, for 4 cups. And then just to be safe, just to make sure that I was right, because it's 1:30 in the morning, I weighed it out. So it's 32 ounces, just like 4 cups should be, and we've got that all set. So really what you need is strawberries, your Sure-Jell, your sugar, a little bit of patience, and you are all set. We're also going to be using a little bit of lemon, because lemon has a lot of pectin in it, and just even like a little bit of a squeeze of this can help ensure that your jelly sets, your jam, that your jam sets correctly. Now let's talk about crushing your strawberries. Some people like their strawberries really crushed. They don't want any chunks. That's fine. If that's you, then I would crush my strawberries in a food processor, or I would use an immersion blender, or boy, I would really go to town with that potato masher. I am a person who likes the more informal jam, and I kind of like some chunks in there. I like to know exactly what it's got in it, and the chunks don't bother me at all. You do you, baby. It's all right. I'm not worried about how you chop your strawberries up or how long you really macerate them. If you want to do the 10 minutes, if you're in a rush and you don't have the patience to wait an hour, then, you know, do your 10 minutes. I'm sure it will be delicious. I'm not worried at all. Okay, so, yep, my strawberries are just about ready to be drained, and then we're going to go ahead and hull them. This is not a recipe that can be doubled. So if you have more strawberries than the 4-cup mark, you're going to want to make another batch. It will not set properly. Your ratios will be off. So please do not double it. Also, if you have a strawberry that is really honking big, go ahead and like cut that up as small as you possibly can. You don't have to do quarters. Like if you wanted the kids to help with this and they just absolutely just tore these apart into a bazillion little pieces, well then that's fine. That's just going to help you. It's just going to help you in the maceration process. So, yeah, you don't have to be precise in your cuts. Nobody's grading you. Gordon Ramsay doesn't care how you cut your strawberries. But if he shows up, serve him some on toast. Some of your strawberry jam on toast. He'll be impressed. Anyhow, don't double your recipe. We're just about there. Okay. All right. So, yeah, we still have some left over. We could eat these. You know what these would be really good on? You could chop these up, and my dad would put a little spoonful of sugar on them and a little splash of evaporated milk, and we would sometimes have that for a dessert when we were kids. Maybe I'll do that later. All right, so we have our 4 cups. That side looks a little wimpy. I think I can get 2 more in. 2 more in on that side, just to be safe. We could weigh it, but it'll be all right. That side just looks a little low, so we'll just go ahead and cut up a couple of more. It'll be fine. Oh, that's a big one. Okay, that's really gonna do it. No worries. Okay. There we go. Fabulous. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and mash these with my potato masher, but you could do whatever it is that you want to do with your jelly, your jam. You can certainly use the immersion blender. Those are very affordable. I think I picked one up for like $25. Anyhow, you could use your immersion blender. You could use your food processor. You do what you gotta do. Oh. Just gonna let that sit there and steam for a second. My lemon's cut in half. Good deal. Okay. So now I've got my 4 cups of strawberries. I have my lemon, and I have my sugar. So I'm going to take my potato masher, and I'm just going to start working these down a little bit. This is a great recipe to make if you're, working out some problems in your life, or you got things that are upsetting you, and just mash some strawberries down. I'm just going to get these going. Going to work up a little sweat. Might have to turn the fan on here in a few minutes. And you can really start to see the juices running in this batch of strawberries. So this will yield about 5 8-ounce mason jars for a total of 40 ounces. If I put them in the small ones because we're a small family, and because they're only going to, they're not going to last in my refrigerator very long because we are going to eat them. But if we ate it more slowly, I wouldn't want a 40-ounce container to sit in my refrigerator and possibly go wonky. My sister asked me, how do you know if it's gone wonky? Does it have mold? Does it smell like alcohol? Is it fermented? Does it taste bad? If you had a bite of bad freezer jam, it's probably not going to kill you. But it's going to be very unpleasant, and it might turn you off of freezer jam, and that would be just a damn shame. So we've got those mashed down a little bit. reduced for about a cup. And I'm going to just give it a couple of more good mashes here. And then I'm going to pour over my 4 cups of sugar. Like, but you haven't got that all mashed in yet. Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. Because once we add this sugar, there's going to be a cellular breakdown in these strawberries. And in that process, these strawberries are going to give off more than half their juice. It is going to be very liquidy. And let's see, where are we going here? Let's grab some zest off first. I'm going to put just a little bit of zest in here because strawberry and lemon goes together great. This lemon is going to give it just a little kick and the perfect combination of the sweet and the sour. You're not even really going to notice the lemon, but you're going to notice how delicious the strawberries taste. And this is not much. This is, you know, not much at all. Actually, let's put a little more in. Why not? That's maybe like half a teaspoon. I think it can take the whole teaspoon. Probably the zest of 1 Meyer lemon. Perfect. And now I'm going to give it a squeeze of lemon. And I am going to use my sieve here because I do not want the seeds in there. And I am notorious for seeds in various things. Andrew's constantly picking them out. And I'm constantly just not that worried about it. It's a little fiber. You've got to be regular if you want to be happy. Okay, there we go. Put that in the sink. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my spoon. Wash, rinse, sanitize. Yay, hooray. Safety first. Pardon me. And now I'm just going to go ahead and stir in that little bit of lemon juice and stir the strawberries into the sugar and get that all incorporated. I've always struggled with insomnia, and I love the 21st century because you're never alone at 2 o'clock in the morning anymore. The world has gotten to be a much smaller place, and at 2 o'clock in the morning there's somebody up doing something. I no longer have this feeling of isolation at 2 a.m. when I can't sleep, that I'm the only person left alive. Now, in my rational mind, I know that there's always been somebody else up, that I'm not the only person with insomnia. But when you look up and down the street and you don't see another light on, well, look at them. They're all in bed. I wish I was in bed. I'm the only person that's crazy on this street. Well, I know I'm not the only person that's crazy on this street. And, yeah. But now I'm not bored or lonely at 2 a.m. I'm up with you guys. Yay, my friends. Okay. So this is pretty well incorporated. This is what it looks like. Looks delicious. Looks very sugary. And pretty darn quick here. That sugar is going to do what it does. And those strawberries are going to break down. And this is going to be very, very liquidy and delicious. And I'm super excited. So I'm going to go do some laundry. I'm going to go watch some YouTube and the news. Because I guess it's important to stay up on current events. Maybe. Anyhow. One thing that I know is that I will at least have strawberry jam in the morning. It's going to be a good morning. Yeah, you're right. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes and I'm just checking in on it, you know. And you can see that there is a lot more liquid. It is much more less solid. And you can see that the fruit is kind of a little bit mushier. So it's doing its thing. Maceration, it's a real thing. I definitely think an hour is definitely going to be needed. And there should be a change in the color next. I'm expecting a much deeper red. And if you wanted to, besides stirring it, you could take your potato masher and mash all the way down, and then I just give it a little rotate like that. Just so I'm breaking up some strawberries, and that might speed the process along. Now, if we were in a real rush, we just had to speed this along, you could put this in the microwave on 30-second intervals to incorporate the sugar into the strawberry and speed up the maceration process. But we're not in that big of a hurry, and I'm waiting to turn over laundry here pretty darn quick. And yeah, so I would just let it go and just give it a little mash every once in a while. It'll be fine. And if it's not mashed enough, then, you know, we'll whip out the immersion blender, give it a couple of zoinks with that, get on with it. It'll be all right. I'm going to go back to laundry. It's going to do its thing. I believe in you, baby. You can do it. You're going to be delicious. On toast. On biscuits. Ooh. On a Monte Cristo sandwich. That's your fate. Do what you do. See you in 30 minutes or so. Okay, and as you can see, after an hour, it is much darker in color. Fantastic. And as you're mashing your strawberries down, or if you want to pour this off into a food processor or use your immersion blender for a smoother texture. Remember, I'm leaving mine chunky because that's my preference. You do you, baby. You're going to feel that it is less grainy than when you first started out. That sugar has really become incorporated, and that's why I think it takes an hour. I'm just going to continue to mash mine probably for about the next 5 minutes, and get that chunky, but you know, I don't want half a strawberry hanging out the side of my face while I'm eating my Monte Cristo sandwich. Well, maybe I do. Maybe I do. So no doubling of this recipe. I've got 3/4 of a cup of water ready, and I've got my Sure-Jell package. We're going to dissolve that, bring that to a boil. Then we're going to be adding it to this, and that Sure-Jell is what's going to help us make sure that this sets. And then we're going to test our recipe with the old spatula method. I've already got it over there in the freezer. Don't be concerned if this doesn't come to full texture right away. It can take 24 hours or a little bit longer for it to set all the way. So don't panic if it looks a little bit runny. I'm going to say we're not even going to panic even if it doesn't meet the spatula test, because this, like I said, can take 24, sometimes 48 hours. And if it doesn't set, let's talk about that. Let's say that it's runny. You now have a delicious ice cream topping. Or on your Sure-Jell packet, there are directions to correct what to do if your freezer jam or jelly does not set. has directions down here. Tweet, tweet, knock on wood. I have never had that happen to me. Mine has always said, fingers crossed. But yeah, I'm now just going to stir this, and I think that's a great consistency. There's some larger chunks. Like I said, that's my preference. We know our ratios are correct because we're at the 6 cup mark. So we've got 4 cups of sugar, 2 cups of the macerated strawberries. And I just want to make sure that that sugar is as incorporated as possible because I really don't want my jelly or jam to be grainy. If yours still feels like it's grainy, go ahead and pop it in the microwave at 30 seconds. Take it out, stir it up. How does it look? Does it need some more? Pop it in for another 30 seconds. But for me, this is good. And I don't have like any, well, I do. I have some larger sugar crystals here at the top. I want to make sure I get those in as much as possible because I don't want those pouring off into my jars and making the rest of the jar grainy as well. So scrape towards the top. Make sure you don't have a lot of sugar crystals. Get those worked in there. And if you were crunched for time, let's say that I got tired right now and decided I just could not go on. I can put some saran wrap on at this point and put it in the refrigerator and it would be just fine. Now I would have to bring it back up to room temperature or transfer it into a stainless steel bowl before I would be able to add my Sure-Jell mixture because I don't want thermal shock and my glass bowl here to explode. But this is pretty much at room temperature right now, and that's got a great color. That's going to be so beautiful. We're gonna give it all away. Well, most of it away. I'll keep a couple for me and Andrew. Okay, let's do our Sure-Jell cooking over here. And these are my jars. They're all nice and sanitized. They are slightly warm, and that's just fine with me. And that's just my preference. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn this to medium heat. We're going to put it on 5. This is 3/4 cup of water per the directions. Shaky, shaky. I'm going to put this over here. Now, I'm going to consult the directions because though I have made this many, many, many times, let's see. Stir 1 package Sure-Jell Premium Fruit Pectin and 3/4 cup in a small saucepan. It may start out lumpy. Bring to a boil on high heat, stirring constantly. Boil 1 minute, stirring constantly. Remove from heat. Simple enough. Okay, we got our 3/4 cup of water. I used water from the sink. That's fine with me, especially since we're bringing it to a boil. Yay, my Sure-Jell is not lumpy. And then let's go ahead and choose a spatula. Spatula sounds good. Okay, and we're going to stir this constantly until it comes to a boil. Now I've chosen a saucepan that is a little bit wider. It's not very deep, and I'm hoping that that helps us bring this to a boil very rapidly. Yay, hooray. And once this has come to a boil, we're going to continue to stir and let this do its thing. And then we're going to boil it for 1 more minute. And then we're going to pour it over our strawberry mixture. And then we are going to stir until it is all incorporated. It may still get slightly darker in color. That's just fine. Now it's all incorporated in here and there are no lumps. A lot of fruits contain natural pectin. Strawberries have some. Apples have a lot. That's another thing that you could do if you don't have pectin on hand, any Sure-Jell, and you can't get to the store or what have you. You could put all of your strawberries and your sugar into a large pot and add a couple of sliced apples to it, including the core. I would just slice them in half and put the whole half of the apple in there and boil that for a while, and that should produce enough pectin for your jam to set. That's something that I saw my grandma do. I don't know that that's recommended. By all means, you should use your resources, your county extension, your bulb blue book. There's a great book called Putting Food By. That's one of my favorites. And you can feel that this is getting thicker. So, it's a funny story. I told Andrew I'm going to run to the store. I'm going to go buy some pectin. I forgot it when I was shopping. And I'm just going to get the 2 boxes. That's it. He says to me, no. You don't have to go. You don't have to go to the store. I saw some pectin here at the house the other day. I said, you did? I haven't seen any pectin in a really long time. Not since the last time I made jam. He said, oh no, we've got some. Anyhow, there's a cabinet above my spice rack, above my spice cabinet, that I cannot reach. And I never look in there because pretty much these upper cabinets, other than the first shelf, well, they're pretty pointless as far as I'm concerned. Anyhow, he reached up there and he pulls down a box of pectin. And I said, wow, that's really old. That doesn't even look like the boxes anymore. And anyhow, we looked at the expiration date. And it expired in 1999. We are not using that. But I thought that was hysterical. And he said, well, what are you going to do with it? You want to throw it away? I said, no, I don't want to throw it away. It's been keeping whatever else is up there company for the last 24 years. Just put it back there. They've grown accustomed to each other. Anyhow, so it's living on up there. And I was talking to my friend today, and she said I should take a photo of it and send it to Sure-Jell and see what they thought about it. I don't know if I'll do that or not. Maybe it'll make somebody over at Sure-Jell laugh. I don't know. I can't be the only crazy one with 24-year-old Sure-Jell in their cupboard. But really, yeah, you know, this house was not designed for a shorty, so pretty much, you know, that's about how far I can. Well, let's see. That's about how far I can reach without a step stool. So yeah, they're pretty pointless as far as I'm concerned, but bless them. Okay, on to your stirring, Tanya. No more joking around. Anyhow, this is really good on a Monte Cristo sandwich. If you've never had a Monte Cristo, it's kind of like a cross between a ham, turkey, and Swiss sandwich dipped in an egg batter like French toast and then fried off. And it's delicious, and it's typically served with a little powdered sugar on top and then a side of strawberry jam, homemade if you're lucky enough to go someplace where they have the homemade jam. We used to enjoy it at Chompy's. We haven't been there in a very long time, but they have an excellent Monte Cristo, and it is huge, and one sandwich easily feeds 2 people. So, yeah, I see Monte Cristos in our near future with some thick cut home fries. That sounds delicious. And a pickle. Yeah. Chombies has the best pickle trays. And when you sit down, they bring one to your table, and it usually has like 3 different kinds of pickles, and then it will also usually have other pickled vegetables. They have really good pickled green tomatoes. Those are fantastic. I could definitely fill up on just the pickles. Okay, so we're getting to a point where it's slightly boiling, but we're still able to knock it down. We're able to just stir through the boil. So I'm going to let it go just a couple of seconds longer. And then I'm going to start timing my 1 minute. Okay. 1 minute. I'm not giving it any excuses not to set. Come on, little pectin. You can do it. Make my jam set yummy. I believe in you. And I don't know why this 1 minute seems like it lasts forever. When you're doing something that you really enjoy, it doesn't seem like it takes that long. But when you're standing here stirring, and this is not bad, I shouldn't complain about this stirring, because definitely when we make fudge, like it's 30 straight on minutes of nothing but stirring. And you know, if you're not good at stirring and you have arthritis or you're not feeling well or you can't stand at the stove that long, these are great things to make with a friend. So, you know, call that friend up on the phone and, hey, come on over and let's make some freezer jam and you can help me stir and I'll send you home with half or a jar, or however generous you want to be with that person, or nothing. Okay, and let's talk about generosity. If someone is generous enough to give you homemade jam in a lovely mason jar, let's make sure we're giving that mason jar back to that person. They are not cheap. And I'm just going to pour my pectin in, right into the middle. I'm going to stir at the same time. There we go. Fine and dandy. I'm going to make sure I get every little bit out of here. Yeah, give them their mason jar back. They're not inexpensive. I rarely get mine back. I had to buy some recently, and a case of 12 was almost $15. And yeah, and if you have a friend that you're going to give this to, and you know that they're never going to give your jar back to you because they have proven that in the past, you can package this in any kind of vessel, because it's a freezer jam, so it doesn't have to be in a shelf-stable jar. You could package this in an old jelly jar, plastic butter container. Now we're just going to stir. It recommends 3 minutes. So we're just going to stir until it's all incorporated. And yep. Yeah, so you can put this in an old pickle jar that you have washed, rinsed, sanitized, and no longer smells like pickles. You could put this in a plastic butter container for giving it to someone, or a dollar store jar, though I'm not sure necessarily that that's more cost effective, but you know, whatever kind of jar you can find that you don't care if you get back or not. So I have started doing that. Some of my lemon curd went out in old jars. I do not feel bad about it. They still got the cute little raffia bow, but you know. Making jelly always reminds me of my mom. We lived for a brief time in Oklahoma, and we had wild blackberry bushes everywhere. And Melissa and I were little girls, and we thought it was super duper fun to go out and pick blackberries, and then we would bring them home, you know, what we didn't eat. And my mother would make jams and jellies and what have you. And anyhow, I just remember eating her jams and jellies when I was little, and they were good. And yep. Okay, it's only been 2 minutes. Keep stirring. Like I said, get a friend. Have them help you make it. Unless they're not good stirrers, and then find some other friend to come over and do it. But I can already feel this thickening up, so I think we're going to be very successful. And like I said, 24 to 48 hours for it to reach its full thickening. So this doesn't feel gritty at all. Everything seems like it's well incorporated. And let's see what happens when we get our spatula out. Whew, that's chilly. Okay. That's going to be fun. Just like high school math. We proved it. I got to wash my hands because I licked them. Oh, by the way, it was delicious. Now, I made it in this with a spout. I'm wondering if I can just pour it off. Ooh, let's try it. Let's see what happens. I also recommend wearing old clothes that you do not care about, because this can be a process. We're going to leave one, I don't know, about a ½ inch of head space in each one, because as this freezes, it will increase in volume, and we don't want to bust the jar. So we're gonna leave it some room. Okay, even though we are not going to can these, and they are not going to be shelf stable, I am going to go ahead and wipe all of the rims and the threads with a little bit of vinegar. It's just a good practice. And a little extra precaution never hurt anyone. And my my lids have been washed. 2, 4, 6. With these two, what I am going to do is I am going to add 1 tablespoon of balsamic glaze to each one. And yes, this makes it a little bit more savory, but I am completely okay with that, because strawberries and balsamic go together so well. I'm not using the just regular balsamic vinegar, because this has a more viscousness to it. It's also a little sweeter because it's concentrated. And this will make an excellent salad dressing. There, the words, they're so hard today. This will make an excellent salad dressing. This would be excellent with a little bit of goat cheese on a biscuit. One more time, these are not going to be shelf stable. These are going to go into the freezer. And then they are going to be given as gifts and thank yous. Sorry you're not feeling well. We're going to eat them, yes. But anyhow, the strawberry balsamic, terrific on a biscuit with a little bit of goat cheese. And then also like just placed under the broiler for a brief time. So, okay, these two are the strawberry balsamic. I'm going to grab a pen and get those labeled before I lose my mind and, you know, accidentally give someone my salad dressing. Anyhow, those are going to be terrific. Leave them out for 24 to 48 hours on the countertop so that they can do what they're going to do, and then we're going to pop them in the freezer. Yay, hooray. Strawberry jam. Okay, so we got 6 lovely freezer jams. And these are freezer safe half pints. And then we've got 2 of the strawberry balsamic half pints as well. Like I said, these are great for a lot of savory applications. You could still eat it on toast. Delicious. Anyhow. Thanks so much for staying up all night with me doing crazy projects in the kitchen. It's a lot less lonely with you. Be good, be careful, look both ways, like and subscribe so we can be friends. And have a good night. Go back to bed. I'm gonna. It's almost 4. Time well spent, but it's almost 4. I'm going back to bed. Gonna sleep in tomorrow too because it's my day off. Yay, hooray! Strawberry jam. Guess what's for breakfast? Good night, babies.